If I give a topper and a struggling aspirant the same 100-page notes, how will they look at it? A topper will look at, how can I score from this material? How many marks can I get? Can I get 10 marks from it? Whereas a struggling aspirant will find 100 facts. It is not about hard work. It is about the internal algorithm. If you are following that approach, you are not going to make it to the prelims. This video, the next 10 minutes will decide, and I will discuss the algorithm which toppers follow, the struggle, the paradox, which everybody should know. And if they know, they will get into that 1% strategy. In the last podcast, I discussed about the 1% strategy, what toppers do, and they make it. How they reach till that stage where they crack UPSC CSC examination. So you need to understand the toppers paradox. Why intelligence is not enough. So why the people who are getting selected again and again, people who are clearing prelims again and again, there are people who are getting selection again and again. I know people who get selected 3 times, 2 times. I myself have given 3 attempts, 3 mains and 2 interviews. I made some mistakes, which I don't want you to make. I made some mistake in the interview. I made some mistakes in the mains, but I did not make mistake in the prelims. A lot of my students, they don't make mistake because they learn from others' mistake. And that is what I want to tell you. So what is the secret which works for the toppers that you need to know? Well, the secret is consistency, the boring consistency. It is not about luck, it is not about randomness. No, these people are very strategic, very smart, and they think sharply. So if you are looking at what is the topper strategy, believe me, it is not about luck, it is about pure, not about hard work also. If you think hard work is enough, you are mistaken. Hard work is not enough. What you require, a consistent approach which are going to work. So I want to share the topper strategy, the 1% strategy, the 1% strategy where a topper's mindset is very important. So when you look at the topper's mindset, what they do, they follow a concept called first principle thinking. Now, what is first principle thinking? You broadly focus on, let's give an example. Moment if I say inflation, the topper will look at the flow of money in the economy. Is it increase? Has it decreased? More money supply, more inflation, more demand. Whereas a struggling aspirant will look at data, fact, numbers, and will not understand the analytical aspect. So that is the first principle thinking. The second is strong selection filter. The toppers have very strong selection filter. They select, they identify the pattern, they know where the UPSC might ask. 80-20 principle of Pareto's. Only 20% of the thing or the topics or the syllabus that you're studying will fetch you maximum marks. Failure lab. They treat mock test as a very different process. I'll come to that. Let's understand the code of the boring consistency. Now, look at this. If you are overthinking, your cup is overflowing. You are over analyzing. You are doing too many things. You are anticipating, you're hallucinating, you're questioning the process. And when you question the process, you look for a new process. You go and see some video. Your friend has said that this is working for me, or one of your friend cleared prelims last year with following X strategy, and you start following your process and you start following somebody else's process. In my inner circle session, that is what I do. I help you design a process which will work for you. It is not about teaching, it is about knowing the clarity, because this is where the first step is. And second is about boring consistency. Once you have clarity what to do, what is my process, I always tell my students, because this was taught by my mentor, that systems work, people fail. So you have to create a system, a process which works for you, because as a person, as a people, you will fail. But when you create a system and you follow word by word, script by script, things are going to work. So what you have to do, you have to empty your cup. You have to clear your mind, clear your head. Focus on receptive mindset. Ask yourself, use your logic, use your common sense. Forget what toppers are saying. Forget what, n number of people are saying. Listen to one person, maybe maximum 1 or 2%, and follow your logic. Focus on syllabus. Understand. The goal is moving from overwhelm to focused action. Your action part will decide. All these things, strategy, mindset, all these things are very important. But the real part is action. But this will catalyze the process. And then when you start investing, you are in a different flow of mind. So this is what intelligence trap is. Full cup paradox. Your cup is full. You have to empty your cup. You have to think logically. You have to study less. And that is what I want to tell you. Now, if you are following any of these are silent killers in your preparation. The silent killers, they are impacting your journey. The silent killers. The perfectionism trap. You tend to perfect. I will study from 3 sources. I will revise everything. I'll do PYQs. I'll give 5, and you are doing either everything or you're doing nothing. Moment you see a roadblock, things will not work. So don't follow the perfectionism trap. Follow good enough trap, a trap which works for you. The second is analysis paralysis. Decision making is poor because prelims is about knowledge, application of knowledge, decision making, and confidence. So if you're doing a lot of analysis and paralysis, you don't, and this is what differentiate people who are action taker and who are thinking. So over analyzing the problems will lead to inaction because you're always thinking this will work or not, this will work or not. Moment a student comes to me in my inner circle session or when the one-to-one mentorship, I said, this is your actionable point, you work on it and we'll meet next week. That is what I tell. I said, no analysis paralysis. The third is comparison syndrome. Now, it is okay to compare yourself, see your test scores, how your friends are doing. That's completely okay. But is it impacting you? Because you know the threshold. UPSC ka cutoff kya hai, that you already know. If you are solving maybe 7 questions out of 10 and your accuracy is 90%, that means you are on track. So your comparison with is yourself. So if you compete with others, it is completely okay. But if it creates doubt, then there is a problem. Okay. Then isolation feedback. Most of the students are studying alone. They don't know what will work. And that isolation brings them down. It brings a lot of loneliness. That is what I want to make sure that I meet my students. I try to meet every week, once in a week, maybe 5 minutes, 2 minutes. In my inner circle session, I ask them to come in the session, make a difference, and suddenly things will start working. So, or if these are silent killers, if you're following all these, it will only create problems. So make sure that you overcome these things, and this will require a lot of hard work and mindset. Okay, so this is what I want to tell all my aspirants who are putting preparation approach. The third is the boring consistency. Now, if you want to get selection, your consistency has to be more than intensity. Now, one day you study for 14 hours, you study for 10 hours, you feel very good, and the other day it. So if you're following this pattern where your study patterns are 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, 0 hours, 14 hours, this is where the compounding effect comes. If you are consistent slowly, so more than 6 to 8 hours daily is more helpful than 14 hours of burnout. Now 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, that is yours. So your intensity will create burnout. Now this is true about life also. When you put a lot of effort and you are not consistent, you will burn out and you will leave everything. So this is what happens with 95% of the aspirant. That is what I've seen. Now what should be a routine? What should be an ideal routine? I always tell my aspirant, eat the frog. Eat the frog means start with the tough and subjects where you are less comfortable. So in the morning, start with the tough subjects where you feel you are less comfortable. Maybe art and culture, maybe CSAT, because your mind is in active state, your energy is at highest level, and you're more effective. So you do that. The second, in the evening, you can focus on revision or subjects which are relatively easier because as the day progresses, your energy comes down. And it also depends on how you see things. Then you have a buffer slots in which you will do other things. So it is very important that you follow a consistency approach. Consistency is boring. Boring is beautiful. Boring is beautiful. That is what you require. If you're getting bored, believe me, all successful people have a very boring routine. Your preparation should move by calendar, not by your emotion. Remember, this is very important. Okay, now information filter. Now we live in an era of technology. A lot of information. You get newspaper, infinite videos, opinions, infinite newspapers, endless PDF, Instagram, YouTube feed, and 100+ books. This is what the input is. You're taking a lot of input. This is your input. But remember, you have to filter here. Put a filter here and bring syllabus filter. That means understand, is it relevant for the syllabus? Can I score 50%? Because I have my target is 50%. I don't have to score 100%. I have to score 100 out of 200. My cutoff is 85, 88. That means I am in the safe zone. So you have to target only that. The 80-20 rule will apply. 80-20 means 20% of topic will fetch you maybe 80% of the marks. I'll tell you, there are many subjects I can share it with you. Okay. And then comes the output. For example, Laxmikanth, you follow polity. One student is reading every line of the Laxmikanth. Other student is knowing that, okay, there are 4 topics where you get maximum question. Let's follow them. And if you want to know further, come in my inner circle session where I'll show you how this entire thing work? Because I can help you with strategy, clarity, but hard work you have to do. Okay, you're following Spectrum in history, you're following monthly magazine. How should I do that? Okay, so strategy should be issue based, not event based. Focus on issues, focus on understanding of the UPSC's requirement, and automatically things are going to work. Then mocks, very important. Now I want to share the topper strategy. The first principle thinking is very important. Think logically, break down things into smaller problems and try to solve it. Second is strong selection filter. Always use your common sense. Before studying a book or material, let's say there's a book. Moment I pick this book, now this is Mishra and Puri, a very handsome book, but it is very bulky. My logic would say, what kind of question will come from this book? How many chapters are important? So, for example, in economy, money and banking, external sector are very important. BOP, trade, and they will cover more than half of the prelims question. Your problem is solved. You can solve more than half of the question just following 2-3 topics. Okay. The third is failure lab, the mock test. Now here I want to discuss about the failure lab, the mock test, and fourth is detachment mindset. You have to detach with the score also. Now both of them go together. So let's say you give mocks. What do you do after the mock? The first is when you are the first principle that you have to follow, that always simulate the exam condition. In your preparation, always look at, okay, I'm preparing for the exam, so I need to have exam condition. I need to simulate and understand. It is a serious process. The second is analysis should be more than attempting. I always tell my student follow 1:2 ratio, where 1 hour should be your test duration and 2 hours should go for the analysis part. And go deep in analysis. Don't give more tests, give fewer tests, maybe 20, 30, 35, not more than that. In the entire preparation duration, I'm saying 15 years of PYQ or 10 years of PYQ is sufficient. Okay. The principle 3 is anticipation. Understand what UPSC might ask based on the pattern back. If you want to know the future, you have to link the dot backwards. And when you are able to link the dot backwards, you are able to find the future very clearly. So that is where the focus should be. The gap analysis you have to understand. This is an average aspirant. This is an average aspirant. You look at this, the gray, this is your current performance. Now, what is the required performance? The dotted one, the white dotted one. You're scoring 5 in history, you need 10 in history. You need scoring 6 in polity, you need 9 in polity. You're scoring maybe 5 in economy, you have to score more. So all these subjects have to be there. Current affair, ocean, what to do? Follow 1 or 2 sources. Very important. When you start doing that, your performance is going to improve because you're doing too many things. Do less, be effective, break down your preparation into smaller parts, focus more on less. Okay, study less. So this is the topper's mindset. Toppers are made of, you need to have a warrior mindset. Understand that the traits that require is critical thinking, patience. Your goal is to change yourself. Develop a system, a process which works for you. And if you want to know further, do like the video, subscribe to the channel, come to my inner circle session. It happens on Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. If you come here, you will see the major change in the way your preparation works, because my students are doing and they're seeing the result. So that is what, this is a topper's mindset. And in the end, you have to detach yourself from everything. If the test score is not coming, don't worry. Go into that feedback loop, understand where the gap is, debug the issue. And if you start following that, nobody can stop your journey. You will be in the top 1% and you will be in the list finally. I hope you got it. And I am a student like you. I want to make sure that every student who's really putting real effort should be there in the list. And remember, only 1% will follow. Not everybody will follow, because 95%, 98% will run like a herd mentality. They will run around every material, note, PDF. Don't worry. Take care of yourself. Invest in yourself. Be logical, be consistent, and follow the principles of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, today is Monday, I'm recording this video. Lord Shiva says there are 3 things that you should look at. The first is your inner peace. You have to be positive from inside. Second is you have to detach yourself. And third is master the mind. If you start doing that, suddenly you'll be the top 1% and you'll be successful. Take care. God bless you. Bye.